It's EF Press outside the Old Bailey after the Wednesday hearing today. We are with Moritz, who's a freelance journalist supplying the German and other markets on his views of what's happening here. Moritz, I'd like to ask you, what's it like when you go in the public gallery? How do you approach it, and what are your feelings about it?
Slightly difficult, even though today I heard from an officer in there that compared to the other courts, he says the access is actually very good because the other courts are all restricted for COVID. The biggest issue is that even though there's meant to be 5 places, morning and evening, they still are holding 3 places for VIP that so far hasn't shown up. In the morning it's an hour and a half, in the afternoon it's a half an hour later, the second 3 places. So that's kind of, sometimes you miss important testimony for somebody who doesn't turn up, and we have offered to, couldn't they let us in, and we would happily vacate the places for the VIPs, but that hasn't happened. I've tried to gain press access, but so far nobody has answered my emails. It's getting a bit full in the press gallery now again, because some of the people in the court, like some of the defense and prosecution teams, have moved out from the actual court into the spillover room because of COVID-19 as well.
And you've been in quite a few of the hearings here at the Old Bailey in the public gallery, and your overall impression, do you believe that Julian Assange is receiving a fair trial, or what's your experience from having been there?
I have been into a few days of this hearing. I haven't been to other hearings. In the Old Bailey, is he getting a fair hearing? He seems to be very much the object of it all, that he kind of, because he sits behind glass and he has been refused to sit with his lawyers in the well. That was all decided in February. So, and it's sometimes the judge makes remarks and also kind of says stuff to the prosecution and kind of not reprimands them, but puts them in their place. But it seems to be more that she puts the defense into their place, or makes it more difficult for them. It's just looking at the evidence. Of course, I must admit I'm a journalist. I'm on the side of my colleague, and I would like to see him walk free. But from all we hear, you would say, well, he should just be let go. Like the last few days, yesterday and today, was a lot about his state of health, mental state of health. Must have been very difficult for him to listen to experts talking about him, and him having Asperger's or not, and is he at suicide risk or not, and what would the sending over to America to a supermax prison do to him. And it's very detailed. It seems quite, it's hard to say, it seems quite difficult to see that it's a fair hearing. Maybe in the end we have to see what the verdict is from what has been heard. I would be tempted to say from the benefit of WikiLeaks to the general public, that no proof has been given that the publications of WikiLeaks have harmed anyone, that what he has done is common practice for journalists, that's what a lot of the defense witnesses said. So from all of that, you would hope that he wouldn't be, or he shouldn't be extradited to the US, where he faces the rest of his life in jail. But yeah, it remains to be seen what the verdict is. In the end, there was also about, we are running a bit out of time now. It was scheduled really just for 2 more days this week, with an additional week, but we have another 14 witnesses for next week. So the judge proposed today to defense and prosecution to have 2 days in the 5th week, Monday and Tuesday, to submit their oral statements. And then James Lewis, prosecution, Queen's Counsel, he proposed they could give written statements, which she seemed to be very eager to do, which would give very little public viewing of, I mean, who's interested in the written statement as much as in the proceedings here. So I think a verbal statement of Mark Summers and Edward Fitzgerald would work more in Julian Assange's favor than it written down somewhere and some people picking up on it and more not. And they, Edward Fitzgerald, defense counsel, he tried to say that they need a month to prepare for this, also on account of the superseding indictment and all of that, and that didn't really go down well with the judge either. It also would mean another extra month for Julian Assange to be in jail. I mean, everybody seems to be expecting that the verdict won't be in his favor, and there was kind of the assumption nearly in the beginning from previous attitudes of the court. So an appeal takes time, so the best would probably, I don't know what the best is, but yeah, it looks, we are looking at a long road ahead, or he's looking at a long road ahead from his terrible conditions he's being held in at the moment.
Well,
for telling the truth.
Very good.
Exposing the truth.
Well, thank you very much for updating us on what it's like to be in this Old Bailey court. And it's Moritz on the seat, EF Press on the street. We'll be updating hopefully more
Thank you very much.
tomorrow.